I'm still here. Nate Jackson, Criterion Collection Reviewer Guy, or the artist formerly known as Nate Jackson, Criterion Collection Reviewer Guy, now known as CriterioNate. I'll try to put it there. It's probably going to be down there, or maybe there, or over here, probably. CriterioNate. Why CriterioNate? Well, why not? Not that I'm so obsessed with giving this channel, identity, but, typing Criterion Collection Reviewers, every review just got boring, and I like adding my name to whatever I can do, and it, makes it easy to remember, and it works as a hashtag. You kids and your hashtags. But fear not. Just because I changed the name and I'm going under this alias or whatever, I'm still the same old Criterion Collection Reviewer you've known for the last 3 years, Praise Truffaut and pass on Jean-Luc Godard. Praise Truffaut and pass on Jean-Luc Godard. Praise... Yeah, it's still me. I mean, you would have known from the trailer. It's still me. Anyway, hope you guys had a restful summer. I've been enjoying not watching reviews of reviewing movies. I've been watching a lot of the older movies that I've loved. Watched some favorites, caught up with some favorites like Third Man, and Thieves Highway, Unfaithfully Yours. Just rewatched it just recently, a few weeks ago. I rewatched Ivan the Terrible Part 1. Fantastic stuff. I'd forgotten how much those older movies, I really do dig. Even the serious ones, like the Russian ones, like that. It's been an interesting summer. Definitely can't stray away from Criterion too much, but I've enjoyed watching the older ones that I already know I like, But guess what, guys? Summer's over. And I have to go back to doing this thing here. I have to go back to reviewing movies like number 301, Jane Campion's An Angel at My Table. Lordy, lordy, lordy. 1989, 158 minutes, color, English, blah, 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 blah. So, this movie is about the life and times of New Zealand author Janet Frame. It's split up into 3 sections. As part 1, which focuses on her childhood. And in her childhood, she grew up and she stole from her father and gave her classmates bubble gum. She's basically, I can't tell from her, her photos because they're almost all black and white, but she was basically kind of an overweight Annie. And she meets this girl who tells her about sex and introduces her to her sex through the magical word. And within minutes of meeting Janet, or Jean as she's known back in the day, asks to touch her hair. And that's one of the very few times I've personally connected with a movie. You have no idea how many times people have asked, "Can I touch your hair?" Janet, I feel for you, love. So she grows up, and her sister dies, drowning. I think two of her sisters drown, or somebody drowns. There's they're dropping like flies. So then she grows up, and she, her poems. She writes poems, and her dad gets her a book, and she spends all her time writing. And movies, I was like, okay, it's not bad, but from the get-go, I knew I was gonna have an issue with this movie, and I'll tell you why in just a second. So we get Janet. She grows up, and she becomes a teacher. However, she has she's very awkward. She spends a lot of time alone. She's not a very social person, and at one point when she has this not analysis, but what's the word I'm thinking for? What's the word I am looking for? Thinking of, an inspector watches her class. She breaks down and starts crying and runs out of the room, and they come by later, and a doctor comes by and tells her that they'd like to thinks she should get some rest. They check her into a psychiatric ward. She is misdiagnosed with schizophrenia, a diagnosis that apparently she had for over 10 years, I guess. It's kind of unclear like how the timing of this movie is displayed. There are mentions of the war, which helped me put it into perspective. But there's no like time codes. It doesn't say like 1950 whatever. When she was in the psychiatric ward, she was projected to, what's the word? She was put through shock treatment. Okay, she was put through shock treatment. That's what I'm trying to say. For 8 years, apparently. Apparently she was going to have a lobotomy, too. However, this book of poems she had published, like, won an award, and she had to go, she left her, New Zealand and went to Europe to study there, to write there and accept the award, I guess. It's so, this was like right before the lobotomy, so it got canceled. She traveled to Europe for a while, to Britain, stayed with a guy who was racist, some racist lodger, and then she stayed for France she went to France for a day. And it's funny, like they show the Eiffel Tower in one scene, and this is one instance when Jane Campion I thought might have put it on a little too thick. Eiffel Tower, Paris. Shows Janet walking down the steps, and then you hear accordion music, and it's like, okay, we know. It's like, yeah, just in case she had to drive it in, so it's like, okay, we get it. It's France. You showed the Eiffel Tower. Eiffel Tower ain't nowhere else but Paris, so anyway, I guess you're trying to get in the mood. But that's the thing, though. I think Janet's only in Paris for a day. The rest of her time, almost the rest of the movie, is spent in Spain. One of her friends like set her up with, so she stays there, and like these older ladies who speak Spanish, and like she tries to translate as best as she can, but she ends up having to share her room with an American boarder, he invites her friends, his friends over, and one of them, I think his name's Bernard, he ends up falling for her, and they spend time together, and they have sex and all that good stuff, and then he ends up leaving, and I guess she ends up getting pregnant and aborting the baby, and from there on, but anyway, that's the basic of the movie. It doesn't come up to the present day, because the movie was made in 1989, and she was, Miss Frame was still alive, and I think she died in 2004, I think it was around 2004 when she passed. And so the last bit of it shows Frame going back to her old home after she finds out that her father passed, and I guess her father never left the home, And so she goes back to clean up the house, and reporters get her story and all that, and that's basically it. So outside of that, and she tries out her old shoes, and they fit. Last scene shows her back at, I think she was living in America at the end of the movie, and she's writing a poem, Hush, 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 or something like that. I thought it was going to be Hush, Hush, Sweet Charlotte, but I'm like, no, that's not her. So anyway, that's the movie. Now, my analysis. Your fears, here's what I've been dreading to talk about. Because, this is my channel. My opinion is law here. First of all, I want to say, I have no problem with Jane Campion. I think she was a fantastic director. The way she told this story, brilliant. Nothing wrong with that. And I have no problem with the story. I mean, obviously, the idea of, I thought, Miss Frame led a pretty horrendous life, Poor woman, I mean, I think it's fantastic that, she got the success that she deserved. You know, she's a fantastic author. You know, I read some of her poems, you know, just while I was watching the movie. And yeah, it's fantastic stuff. So, I have no problem with Campion, who's a great director. I don't know her personally from anything else other than a movie she did called The Piano, which I think was her like big, like mainstream American success. A movie she did with Holly Hunter, and she's done another movie that we'll see in the 350s, one called Sweetie. So outside of that, I know nothing of Jane Campion's work. And again, Janet Frame, I know nothing about Janet Frame's work outside of what I've seen from, you know, the last couple of minutes, you know, last couple of hours that I was watching the movie and read her poems and all that. Maybe I'd like to maybe get one from the library. My problem was with Carrie Fox. I think she was I think she's a horrendous actress. I didn't like her. I had problems with her because I know that she did a movie in the early 2000s, mid 2000s. She did a movie called Intimacy. And in the movie, she performed unsimulated fellatio on a guy. And that's the kind of shit that just will make you check your mind. That's the kind of shit that make you check your mind, to quote Prince. May he rest in peace. That's a rule around here. That's one of the cardinal rules. If you suck a guy's dick for real in a movie, you've lost my respect. You know. We're looking dead at you, Chloe Sevigny. So yeah, because of Carrie Fox, I can't give this movie a great rating. Sorry. C+. C+. Again, Campion did a fantastic job directing. Janet Frame, love you, love. Fox, stop sucking dicks. So, let's talk supplements. Commentary is a 10-minute documentary featuring about making of Angel at My Table, and you get a lot of Campion. I guess there's a scene with Campion directing Fox reading like the narration throughout the movie. Fox reads Frame's words, and we see her and Campion in the recording booth talking, like, and she's directing her even there, and it's like, okay, it's really neat to, you know, that was a really neat scene to get that. Campion just talks, you know, just about her, Frame, and shots of her. There's a small shot of her talking with Frame and all that, and so it's really cool. It was a really interesting little short documentary. There's a couple deleted scenes. A scene where Janet and her sister, young Janet and her sister, watch a toilet flush, because I guess that was new technology for back then, for New Zealand back then. There's an interview with Janet Frame from 1983 called My Say, where Janet talks about her life, and it was really cool to hear her, hear her voice. And the trailer, some stills, and blah, 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 blah. So anyway, that's Angel at My Table, C+, because Fox, blah. So anyway, we're back. It has begun. We're back, season 4, year 4. The next 100, 301 to 400, 1 down, 99 to go. And we are at it again. So, that's it for today. Tomorrow, where is it? Tomorrow, a film by Masaki Kobayashi, Harikiri, number 302. And then I think Wednesday we're gonna get to number 303, one called by Nick Rohr, called Bad Timing. And then we got The Man Who Fell to Earth, and Mr. Bowie, The Man Who Fell to Earth, in the Azusa cases. I'm hoping to get my friend Yuna up to do the review, although we may not be able to do it because of the schedule, because of the fact that I have to turn these in sooner than later. So there's a good chance we may not be able to do the review with her. My schedule's really tight this week too. We may only have time for 2 reviews anyway. So, yeah, there's that. Anyway, and then we got, and then the other one. I'm ready for some Renoir. Which will probably definitely be next week. Budo Saved from Drowning. And then I've got to put a hold on the next couple. What was it? Naked, Le Samurai. I can't remember the others, but anyway, so that's the schedule. Right now, my schedule is I'll be review every Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Probably sometimes Wednesdays, maybe Thursdays too. At least Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Those are my days for Criterion. Wednesdays, depending on how long the movie is, and depending on how many of the supplements there are, there may be a review. There might not. Don't know. So, we'll see. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching. Don't suck dicks in movies unless you're a porn star. And don't misdiagnose famous authors with schizophrenia if they don't have it. If they're just nervous lot, So, and that's it. We're back. Hope you enjoyed it. I know you didn't. And we will see you tomorrow for, where the hell did it go? There it is. Harikiri. We'll see you tomorrow for Harikiri. And until then, goodbye.